All-Star Weekend, All-Stars, Throwback 2.0, none of it mattered. Doesn't matter that we're at North Wilkesboro. Doesn't matter that it's an old school track. We had an old school commentator in Daryl Waltrip.
Yes! Come on! Who is it? No, I swear that's a Portugal flag. That's a fucking Portugal. Oh my god! Oh my god, no! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh god!
Fuck yes, Daryl's back. I've missed that guy so much.
Hey there, folks. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of NASCAR Cup Dates. This weekend, we found ourselves at North Wilkesboro Motor Speedway. This has been the most talked about and anticipated race, arguably in the last decade. And how did the race hold up? Well, we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. Honestly, though, I'm really happy to see this track back, and I want it more in a larger capacity. There is a lot of improvements that this track needs to make. This was an experimental race, and that's why it was the All-Star race. Chris Buescher, he was asked earlier in the week why this track is back and not Rockingham. He gave an honest answer and said, is it bad to say Dale Earnhardt Jr.? What Dale Jr. did to bring this race back is unprecedented. It all started during COVID, and this man fought like hell to get this track back, and here it is. We are back at North Wilkesboro, and hopefully this track has a much grander future in store for it. But we have much more to talk about than just the track itself. That's why we got a whole episode for you. Thank you for tuning in, and folks, let's get to it.
This weekend started on Friday with the Pit Crew Challenge, where Ty Gibbs' crew won $100,000 and took home the only win they'll have this season. A lot of guys got penalised for 5 seconds because they had a loose lug that was checked after their stop. Chase Elliott avoided a 5-second penalty. They got away with literal arson, alright? There's no way you can tell me that it's not an inside job. Let's see all the Chase fans get mad about that. We had heat racing on Saturday, which is something we don't often see in the Cup Series. Daniel Suarez and Chase Elliott battled all day long in Heat 1. I say all day for the first half. The thing is, the Heats won. There weren't much going on in the Heats because I think the teams knew that they were going to be racing the next day. So they didn't really want to use up all their stuff. Understandable. So in that respect, I don't feel like Heats are worth it if we're going to bring them in a qualifying format. Once Suarez got the lead in Heat 1, it was game over. And it was wet tyres as well, so that definitely played a factor. But the fact they've won at Martinsville, and they've won at North Wilkesboro, so that makes me think that the rain tyres, are what we should be using on a constant basis. Or that level of softness. Over in Heat 2, Chris Buescher got me feeling like Ford were going to win the whole thing. So much so that I placed a bet on it. Are you taking the piss? Nothing goes my way. He led every lap, start to finish. Fair play to him. RFK's carrying Ford. That's something I never thought I'd be saying. Fair play to what Brad's done there, man. The top two would advance from the All-Star Open and one from the van vote. I wanted Noah to get through either by racing or by getting the fan vote, and I'm so glad Noah's fans made it happen. The race, for the most part, was Ty Gibbs and Josh Berry. On lap 50, we had a massive crash, totally apocalyptically horrendous. Noah Gragson clipped the inside wall. He wrecked along with a host of others, so that fucked my pick up. I'm not talking about my pick. He's just who I wanted. He is my second driver. He has overtaken Blaney as my second driver. During all these restarts, Michael McDowell was really trying to make the outside line work. And almost made it work perfectly.
So this week, we did not have a Ross Chastain sighting. Instead, we had a true-to-form Ty Gibbs sighting. So here we are in the middle of the All-Star Open, and Ty Gibbs has easily one of the best cars, if not the best car on track. Ty is currently running third, and to his outside is Michael McDowell, who is having a stellar season this year. Michael McDowell does the impossible and completes a pass on the outside, slides down in front of him. Ty, he doesn't care. I don't think he liked that one bit, and Ty wanted to try to assert his level of dominance. I have to put air quotes around that, mind you. Ty decides to say, you know what, no, I don't like this guy, and gives Michael McDowell a shot. Moves him up into a 3-wide situation. And now Michael McDowell is pinched with the driver trying to come down onto him and Ty Gibbs trying to force himself up. And Justin Haley didn't want to give it. Ty Gibbs didn't want to give up. And Michael McDowell, unfortunately, who had a strong chance at winning this race and in easily one of the most impressive-looking cars on track, he got completely demolished by Ty Gibbs because Ty forced him into a spot that no one wanted to see him in. Later on in the race, Ty Gibbs is trying to battle his way all the way up to the front, and Michael McDowell starts throwing blocks onto him. Completely disrespectful, but absolutely justified. I stand by what Michael McDowell did. I don't agree with what Ty did there. That was virtually unnecessary. He didn't need to beat him, bump him, and throw him into that bad of a spot, totaling 2 perfectly good cars that had a chance at making it in, all because he lacked patience and lacked self-control, much like, unfortunately, a lot of the other drivers we're seeing this year.
So with all that said and done, and with all the other crashes that were happening, Josh Berry managed to take home the win in the All-Star Open, that cool-looking trophy that wasn't really a trophy, and took himself, Ty Gibbs, and Noah Gragson through to the main event. Moving on to the main event, and we had the return.
Yes! Come on! Who is it? No, I swear that's a Portugal flag. That's a fucking Portugal. Oh my god! Oh my god, no! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh god!
Darrell Waltrip. I said in the intro he's back, and my heart was full to see him in the booth again. Oh, I loved it. I loved every second of having him there. I want him back for more, but we just can't. You know, it's God, I've missed him. And he's a real personality as well. He seems like a great guy. The big questions were who would be taking home $1 million, and would it be one of the drivers who raced in the truck race the day before? Would it be the Toyotas, who were so fast in practice? It's just so many questions. Where was the boogity that we get every time Darrell Waltrip was in the booth?
And waves that green flag. We're underway, and Daniel Suarez with the jump.
How dare he not say it? The race started with Suarez leading on the inside and absolutely nobody leading on the outside, because this is traditional short track racing. You have one lane. If you get out of that groove, you're going to the back, or until someone lets you in at least. This is what I want to see more of. One more of. I'll be happy for one more track like this. Just because I don't want the whole sport to be oversaturated by traditional short track racing. Some modernisation's nice, you know? We had our first caution. Was for Ricky Stenhouse spinning. Ricky Spinhouse. There's a reason he gets that nickname. When this happened, now everyone expected new tyres to be fast. It's a worn out surface. It's not been repaved since the last time that NASCAR raced there. We didn't expect it to have that much of a toll. So Kyle Larson, not only did he have only 15 laps on those tyres, he got a speeding penalty, was sent to the back, and he still managed to pull a gap of nearly 10 seconds.
Junior served time at Chillicothe, but what's most important is they never caught.
Can't make that up.
So before we start this, I want to say, can anybody point out a more talented driver than Kyle Larson? I can't. Not in current Cup level. I do not see a more talented driver than Kyle Larson. Kyle got himself some 4 fresh ones. And if you haven't seen the onboard of Kyle Larson dominating this field, it looks like playing NASCAR Thunder 04 on easy mode and just going on the outside and doing awful things to people. God, look, tires were the most important factor on this track. The drivers said it themselves. They wanted to keep this track as classic as possible. They wanted to keep the pavement, as gritty and rough as it was, that ate tires alive. Larry McReynolds, even before the race started, he said that he would tell his crew guys, when you bring those tires out to the cars for tire changes, I want you to carry them. Don't roll them. This track eats tires that bad. And we saw that here. We saw that here today. I didn't think tires were going to be that big of a deal. I mean, sure, they're always a big deal, but Never that much. Kyle Larson took off and was untouchable. And let's not forget, Bubba Wallace, sure, it took him a little bit to get by everyone else the way that Kyle did, but Bubba still managed to do it almost as well. There needs to be changes. There needs to be some changes to this, which I'll be addressing that in just a second. Kyle Larson is a force. He is easily the best driver we have on field right now, with the most talent, the most skill, who can get behind the wheel of almost any car and make it do wonders. We saw that this weekend. The untouchable Kyle Larson does it again.
That might be obvious in saying he won the race and now has 3 All-Star wins in his last 4 starts. Is one behind Jimmy Johnson, who has 4 wins and leads everybody. Going by the way he's been winning these, not next year, but by 2025, he will have 4 All-Star wins. And by 2027, he'll be the outright leader. Undisputed All-Star. Now it's time for Dan's Strong Opinions.
And now we move on to my personal favorite segment of the show, Dan's Strong Opinions. And this is where I give you guys my strongest opinions, and I get to just shoot from the hip and tell you guys what I'm thinking and feeling. So, what strong opinions do I have this week? Honestly, I feel like this race was much more of a colossal letdown than anybody could have ever predicted. But that's exactly why this was an all-star race. This was not a points-paying race. There need to be changes made. There's already a lot of rumors and rumblings that this track is coming back next year. They apparently had a banner up that said to lock in your tickets for 2024. So it seems like NASCAR is buying in on North Wilkesboro. But they need to make wholesale changes right now. We saw this weekend drivers searching for the new stuff. Any of the new pavement that they had out there that needed to be replaced, and that's where the speed was. This track needs a wholesale repave job from the ground up. I don't know if progressive banking needs to be done to make this track as stellar as we all know it can be. I think also a higher horsepower package would do wonders for these cars. A lot of the issues we saw was just drivers not able to get the power that they had down, and the drivers that did, they couldn't make it work the way they wanted to. A little bit more horsepower under the hood, I think that would be a colossal step forward. Wholesale repave job, maybe add progressive banking, I don't know. They should probably make a few iterations of this track on iRacing, see what works, see what doesn't, get the drivers' opinions. Now that they raced on the old stuff, do they really want the new stuff? I want the new stuff. I think that this can be one of the best spectacles in racing if they keep buying into North Wilkesboro. These are my opinions, and I'm sticking to them.
So I won again with Denny Hamlin as my pick. It was close because I thought he was going to be a factor in this, and he wasn't. But now we're picking for Charlotte, and that's definite. And I am going to go for Austin Dillon. Bit of a long shot, but that last 100 miles, it takes a toll on drivers. And he's there at the end of these races, don't get me wrong. It's not the RCR driver I thought I'd be picking. It's that extra 100 miles. He just knows how to be there. He was there last year before he took himself out.
Yeah, Elliott beat me again. That one was a little bit hard to watch because Chris Buescher starting second. He looked so good, but right off the rip got eaten alive, and tires were king. So, on to the Coke 600. Who is my pick? Before I say that, I need to stress that here at NASCAR Updates, we do not go in hard on our own favorite drivers and our own biases. That being said, I am picking Bubba Wallace to win the Coke 600. I've been watching Bubba the last several weeks, as everyone does. Everyone was more interested in talking about the finger.
Performance by Bubba Wallace brings it home second. Your best all-star finish.
As opposed to the quality of on-track performance that this man has had. He has looked like an absolute force out there and just has not been able to get into the right position at the right time. He is battling for the lead week in and week out. I believe at a track like Charlotte, that is one of the most historic tracks we have in NASCAR. That's a reason why we do a 600-mile race here, because Charlotte is kind of a big deal. And I think that big deal Bubba Wallace is going to get it done. Middle finger or not, Bubba's my pick going into this race. Sue me.
So that's another day and another video. I made a website for Cup Dates, a website where I can post my thoughts and opinions, so I'll leave a link to that in the descriptions. I also want to open it up to other fans who have genuine opinions that they want to share. And I don't mean, oh, I hate Bubba, he's not good for the sport. I mean things that deserve to be out there. I'll add that along with the other links to other socials.
And once again, that wraps up another episode of NASCAR Cup Dates. Thank you guys so much for joining us at home. Anybody that wants to give me your strong opinions, give me a follow on Twitter at CupDatesDan. I'm always active there. I'm always keeping an eye out for little notifications. As always, I want you guys to let me know how wrong I am, how right he is in the comments down below. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share if you want to. We're all pretty much shit posters here at the end of the day, and we just want to have fun. We want you to have fun, and that's part of why we do this whole spectacle to begin with. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a follow. It really does help the channel. Elliot, thank you for having me, and as always, you folks have a good night.
Cheers.